A little bit. Anyway, let's bring up our filmmaker and actor, Cooper Raiff. I like your flower.
It's a slushy pop, not a nice pop. It's a slushy pop.
All right. Well, there may be a couple hundred more of those outside when you guys leave. So
It's cold. It's cold.
And that one looks frozen. So okay, that's good.
No, it's not. It's water.
Okay. We also have scissors, so we know you need those.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's just. I mean, start with some of the more obvious questions. We've set up a microphone over here just so you guys know. When we let you know, you line up there if you want to ask a question or just wait your turn. But how do you tell a story about a guy that is still basically coming of age in his own life and still struggling to find his identity and his place in the world? How does he become a party? It's a party starter, really, or a party like motivator. I mean,
Motivational dancer.
How do you even? Yeah, motivational dancer. How do you even find out that job exists? And is it unique to just bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, or have you seen it in other?
I don't know. I know them as bar mitzvah party starters. I think there's probably party starters for other events, not weddings, but. Are there other party starters? What I know is I went to a bunch of bar mitzvahs, and I'm from Dallas, and my 7th grade was just. Whose phone is this? It's mine. But I went to a bunch of bar mitzvahs, and there was this guy named Vince who was like 45 years old and he party started every single party. The parents loved him. The kids were like, "You're pretty old, man." But he was so great and so nice, and that's where I got the idea. Good old Vince.
Did you even at that young age, or was it later that you considered what's that guy? What got this guy, a 40-something-year-old guy, to this point in his life where he's doing this for kids' parties, basically?
It's hard not to think about that. Yeah, it's like seeing your parent. But they're like very engaged in your 13-year-old party. But yeah, it's endlessly interesting. And for the movie, when I honestly was just trying to think of an idea for a way that Andrew could be involved with Domino and Lola and keep being involved with him. And when I had the idea of a party starter, I then realized that it would be a great idea to make a movie about someone who's really good at starting other people's parties, and their 20s are about starting their own party.
Not his own party.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about Lola and Domino, because I think you told me earlier today that's kind of where this started, was with them. The whole story, the germ of this whole idea. Talk about sort of the beginnings of it and how it evolved into a totally different lead character, basically.
Yeah, I started writing not like a movie or even like scenes, but I was like was writing, I don't know, there was a character, and it was just this mom of a disabled kid, and the idea was like really based on my mom. One time, I have a disabled sister, and my mom one time said like something about her life stages being defined by her, and they always will be. And so I was writing this character. Freud would have a lot to say about the movie. But so that was the seed of the idea, and were you guys just like, what? You guys are so silent when I said that. But that was the seed of the idea, and then I realized I should probably try to tell the story through the lens that I know, which is a dumbass 22-year-old. So I didn't want to make a movie about a lead character being that mom, but I wanted to put myself at center stage. And so I then from there came this realization of like why I wanted to write that movie and what I was trying to work out in my head. And so Andrew is very much based on certain things that I relate to.
Let's talk about Vanessa Burkhart. Is that her name? Yeah.
Burkhart, yeah.
Where did you find her? Why was she Lola? What was the process? Because this is her first time acting, right? I think.
Well, no, she was like did a lot of theater, but she
theater,
first time on screen, yeah.
Right. That's what. Okay.
And we did a nationwide search for the three kids, Evan, Colton, and Vanessa, Lola, Rod, and David. Yeah. And when we saw we saw so many tapes for Lola, and the Lola on the page was a certain way, and then we watched Vanessa's tape. Really, I watched Vanessa's tape, and something about it moved me to no end, and I called Ro Donnelly, the producer of the movie, who I first pitched the idea to, and I said, this person, Vanessa, is not at all what I have written, but she has to be Lola, and I don't want to have a single argument with any other producers, and if you could protect that, I will work so hard to make it work. And people had a lot to say, because it just wasn't people had a lot of concerns about, because the main thing was her age. She was like a little older than what we had imagined. And so we wrote in things like, they look like siblings, and the stunning friendship hairline was not in there until Vanessa came in. And but it just had to be her. And yeah, was that the answer to
Yeah,
it?
did getting to know her and talking to her even before you started shooting, did you change the screenplay considerably just based on
entirely really?
Yeah.
They did like a minute-long interview, and everybody who auditioned did, and I could tell she was very opinionated, and she was doing the scene as it was written, but her mom was reading with her, and I just went to dinner and had drinks, and I'm getting emotional. But it was just so, like, there was something about it that it wasn't like what was on the page, but it was so moving, and it was like, that's Lola, and we needed to, like, the whole process of writing Lola for Vanessa was like just trying to keep up with her. And it was so special. And there were so many times where I would go to her and not try to, I tried to make sure that I didn't put the onus on her, because I'm the writer and she's not the writer, but I would oftentimes ask her, yeah, Vanessa, do you think this is funny? And she'd be like, no, I don't think that's funny. And like, I'm gonna work harder on making it funnier.
She's also like the most grown-up person in the movie.
She's
too,
the most involved, yeah.
Well, I'm curious, it comes up in the film, this idea of soulmates. And I didn't get to ask you this question earlier, but I really want to know your thoughts on soulmates. Is it real? Do we have? I think they say that you probably have more than one, but that's just what your philosophy is on soulmates and how it kind of impacted the conversations here.
I think it's changed. It's always changing what I think about soulmates. Sometimes I don't believe in them. Sometimes I really believe in them. Sometimes I think there's a lot of them. Sometimes I think that's just a way to cope. But I loved that idea of multiple soulmates for this movie because it makes the pill easier to swallow. But I tried to poke fun at it with like saying that like Domino has 4 and I have 12 bazillion or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Is it as an actor, because we've talked about this before, your character, Andrew, is defined and in a lot of ways changes depending on who he's in a room with. Like he's a little bit different around like the ex-girlfriend and Domino and Lola and his mom and his brother. Like he's defined by these pairings that you kind of have. And I'm wondering, as an actor, is that fun to like be able to be someone who is not fully formed and becomes more fully formed as the film goes on?
Well, I really relate. 0 sense of self on that guy, and that's what the movie is all about. I think is like this person who has no idea who he is and really likes to dive into other people's worlds because he has no world of his own. And so, I don't know if it was like fun as an actor. It was really easy, because I think that's the way that Andrew attunes to people, is the way that I think is the reason why I wanted to make the movie. And yeah.
Okay. I guess we should talk about Dakota a little bit. She was someone that was with you kind of on this project early on. Talk about, and so you wrote this either for her or with her in mind or something like that, and even with a little bit of her input, I think. Just talk about your relationship with her and what, again, why is she dominant?
I'm the biggest Dakota fan in the world, and like I have been for such a long time. And we met like right before she was about to shoot The Lost Daughter. She was like in Greece, and it was late at night for her. And I met her and didn't necessarily just. The first 20 minutes of us meeting was just kind of me vomiting all of my love to her and saying that I've watched her, and just like I think she's so extremely talented and intelligent and can do so much with the things that she's given. And if she was just given like space to do all of the things that she's so amazing at, I think would be dynamite. And so I kind of pitched that and then said, let's write that person together. I didn't like necessarily say the entire plot and say like, this is where your character fits in, yada. I just like wanted to tell her that I think I see her as a performer really well, and I really, really want to dive into how that could be so funny and so dangerous and so smart and with little need of exposition, because she's so talented in that way. And
I think I told you before, I think it's the best thing she's ever done, to be honest, so including The Lost Daughter, so yeah, she's great.
Same, yeah.
Same. That's true. Speaking of vomiting your admiration for someone, I heard that you did a really passionate pitch letter to Leslie Mann to play your mom. Why did you want her? Tell me about the contents of that note to her.
Leslie's like the best actress in the world. She's so, it's like, people talk about it in the way it's like, she walks the line of comedy and drama so well. It's like, no, she's just an incredible person. She's so joyful, like walking, like just talking to her in her trailer, it's like the most fun thing. And that's why it's so fun to watch her, because she's got such a deep well of emotion, and she's so funny, and she's so deeply loving. And she reminds me of my mom in a lot of ways. And so I wrote her this letter that was fucking insane. And and I can't, and the only reason, I think she read the letter was like, never gonna step foot in the same state as that young man. But then Dakota is friends with her. So Dakota said, he's not as crazy as he seems when he writes. But so we met, and she like very much relates to the mom in the same way that I think I relate to Andrew, and we had a fun, emotional time.
I think I heard she had a stipulation though about someone else in the cast.
Oh, no, that was a joke. I think I joked one time that her only stipulation was Brad Garrett had to play her husband. That wasn't true. I lied about that. I was making a joke at Brad's expense. Yeah.
Yet again. Okay. So your previous film, Shithouse, was about...
Shut up.
was about a college guy. This is about a guy right out of college. Do you think, I know your next film is not going to follow in this vein, but do you think you'll return to this variation of yourself at where you are in your life at that particular time? Do you think you'll kind of come back to that? I know it's not a sequel, but it's thematically there's some similarities or a continuation. Do you think you'll keep going in that direction some point down the line?
No.
Damn it!
I think I don't feel like so confident in, I want to make a movie about this and this person, and therefore that's what it's going to be. And so I think, like what I said about Domino was so distinct in my head, and I think I would have loved to have written a movie about Domino, but I think I'm like smarter than that. Like I don't think I would have been able to do that, so I tried to make a movie that was just very specifically in the perspective of Andrew. Like even the characters like Joseph, like I wanted to show you who Joseph was through Andrew's eyes. Like you learn about Joseph as Andrew is learning about him. You learn about Domino as Andrew, and you don't know about Domino in the same way that Andrew doesn't know about Domino. And I think that was like strategic, because I don't think I'm a very good writer.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one more question, but if we have anybody who wants to ask questions, let's get that ready. Nick's gonna turn that mic on for you. Let's talk about the idea of romance with a capital R. I think both Domino and Andrew
The R word.
are romantic people. But I think the turning point in this film is when they both, maybe not at the same time, but they both realize that romance isn't the same as what's best for everybody involved. And that's a big growth moment, I think, for Andrew in particular, but also her. Talk about that aspect of the film.
I don't know. I think romance is always the answer. I don't know about you, but I think it's more about it's just like Andrew doesn't know who he is in any way, and you can't have true romance if you don't know who the hell you are. And especially if the person you're trying to romance does know who they are. And so there's like a very distinct like power dynamic, or not power dynamic, but there's a dynamic that is not gonna work out. And yes, they're soulmates, but like they're soulmates if Andrew spends many years enjoying the company of his empty room.
Okay, all I ask is that anyone asks a question, make sure the question ends in a question mark. Who has come on guys, you're all still here. Oh, there we go. I see people moving. There we go, yeah, go for it.
Hey, Cooper, how you doing, man?
Good.
We're not gonna get through all of you, but we'll get through as many as we can. Okay, go ahead.
I got a quick two-part question. Just wanted to know, from your last film to this one, what would you say was the biggest aspect that you learned from your first feature going into your second? And what do you wish you had known in your first feature before you made it?
I wish that I had known in the first feature that it's really important to have everybody's trust. Like I think I tried to assemble a team that I was like, it's gonna be great, and then day two they were like, this doesn't look great. And I just thought that they would power through when they were like, I don't think this is gonna get made, so I don't want to be here. And it was very apparent, and it was a miserable experience. But so I wish I had known that like it's really important to, because I had relationships with certain people on set of Shithouse, my first movie, but there were certain people who were friends of friends, and they were like, who the fuck? How? Why am I here? And I wish I had more in-depth conversations with those people. And then with Cha-Cha, the biggest thing that I learned, everything, but one thing that comes to mind is kind of leaning into or committing to the reason why it's acting and directing is very hard, but it's the reason why I like doing it sometimes is because I really like being close to the actors, and I like to think of the people I'm working with in a scene as like co-directors, and I was very upfront with every actor about that. And I like Dakota's very much just as much of a director as I am, and that collaboration was really important, as opposed to just like with Shithouse. I think I did kind of have a hat on, and then I went to the monitor, and with this movie I had so many people that I really trusted and that were trusting me, and I had this whole like manifesto like packet that had all of the possible like acting notes or like what I wanted in a scene, and I had a huge community of like, do we feel good? And everyone was like, we feel good. And when someone was like, we feel bad, I was like, all right, we'll go to the monitor and check it out.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the film.
Thank you. The boys.
What? No, yeah.
Because there's a lot of boys in that.
So the there's a lot of great music in the film.
Thank you.
In particular,
I wrote all of it.
like Big Red Machine was really good in that pivotal moment. I guess my question is, what was the process like working with Rob, and how involved were you in selecting the songs for the film?
Rob's a genius, and he's such a good Rob Lowry is our music supervisor. Guy did his research. Do you know Rob?
A little bit, yeah.
No, but so he just did research. So he's such a good music supervisor, like the art of the deal. Like he's really good at pulling off magic tricks. But for the songs that we had talked a lot about, for the beginning songs, we wanted to cheat the rest of the movie. So like it was really important to like start off with Lupe Fiasco, so that people are planted in this world where that's a song that plays at bar mitzvahs, and then we can use a bunch of really low budget music for the rest of it, because everyone's like, yeah, no, this is a world that Lupe Fiasco plays in. But really, so many songs were like off of a library or something, and you would never know who made them. And like Funky Town worked in that way as well. And but then for other songs, we kind of just like threw things around, and like the Big Red Machine song, I remember we put in for like temp score, and I just was listening to that song a lot when I was editing that scene, and so I just threw it in. And about like probably a month later, when we were trying to like we were banging our head against the wall trying to figure out the score for it, and Rob was like, kind of works really well as it is. And then and I was like, we can't afford that because it's Bon Iver. But then he killed people.
He killed people.
Yeah. I literally don't know what he does, but he like comes back and he's like, yeah, we got it for free. I'm like, who? What? Yeah.
Speaks to the film. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Cooper. I heard at the beginning you mentioned like St. Francis, and you put Kelly in the movie, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
I just love young talent, and I'm curious what other young talent out there like has awe-inspired you, and you want to like work with them very badly.
Kelly. I reached out to Kelly and I was like, do you want to be in this movie? And she was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I was trying to just ask if you wanted to hang out. but she was in the movie and she left after a day. And she's not here. That didn't work out. But I would love to work with her and her partner, I think.
Yeah.
Alex Thompson?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what? Thompson, yeah. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you there, Alex? But I'm not in love with your partner. I have a girlfriend named Madeline. But I love her so much, and I think she's such a good writer and such a good actress, and I love to work with her. There's this girl named Emma Seligman who made a movie called Shiva Baby. She's great. And who else? James Morrissey. Yeah,
Morrissey.
he's I think playing his movie at this festival. Closing night. Yeah, lots.
I was also meaning.
I love young talent too.
Acting talent on that note, and then I'll leave.
Acting talent. There's this great actress. Her name's Michelle Williams. Die for her.
Up and coming.
Up and coming. Yeah. Young talent. Yeah, that's. I love a lot of actors. I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is kind of top secret.
All right. Cool beans. Hi.
Hey.
So me and my buddies are really a big fan of Shithouse, so we're here because of that. Love that movie. But me and my brothers are on the spectrum, and in a lot of different ways, I saw us up there with like the different relationships in this movie. So just thank you for that. Just like the brothers were like really loving, and you don't see that a lot in movies. So
Yeah. Sometimes.
sometimes, and it was here, and I really connected with that. So thank you. But you edited Shithouse, and you didn't with this one, I believe, or did you?
Would you say what?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, edited.
Yeah, editing. What was it like, kind of like going from editing your first feature and handing off the baton in ways with this one, and like collaborating and all that? How was
I
that?
tried to get people to edit Shithouse. I really did.
Yeah.
I just at some point we didn't have any money and no one wanted to edit my college love story for free. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So with this movie, people were interested in editing, so it was very easy to pass off the baton. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We got time for like 2 more, I think.
The movie was really good. I liked it a lot. I'm
Thanks.
here covering this for my school newspaper,
What's your school?
DePaul.
DePaul.
Yeah, and I'm curious.
Shut
Do you have any advice for college film majors? How being a young filmmaker yourself, how they can make stuff like this?
Yeah, I always say like make something that means something to you, because then hopefully it'll mean something to other people. I think a lot of people try to make things that are like what's good, and then people watch that and they're like it's good or it's bad, and that's a crazy ass world to live in.
Thank you so much.
Hey man. I was just watching this movie and I just remember my feeling of watching Shithouse for the first time and just being really taken with the way that the actors like delivered lines. It felt like so natural to me, like just the way that I'm 24 years old. Like it felt like the way that people our age like really talk. And I just wanted to know like if you could shed any light about like how you accomplish something like that for something like as big as a movie.
Just like casting, and a lot of actors love to do that, and it's not like I have to work so hard to get them to talk how they normally talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about, I think it's one, trying to write for someone, but it's also trying to collaborate. Like every person who came on to say lines in the movie, I had many conversations with about like, does this feel good? Does this feel right? And every actor, without exception, like 12, everybody has a lot to say about like, no, I don't want to say that. And I think just like writers and directors and filmmakers don't ask. I literally, every single actor will tell you, I don't want to fucking say that. I want to say this other thing. So it's just a matter of like asking and writing down what they say.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Guys, just real quick, the film comes out in theaters and on Apple TV Plus on June 17th. So you have a lot of time to talk it up, tell everyone how much you loved it. I'm assuming you loved it, you're still here. And Cooper, thank you so much for coming out to Chicago.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And we got to clear the theater for the next show, guys. So, and the popsicles are melting, so get out there and grab them.